Did this close game get you a little more excited about the Warriors this season?
No, it did not. I wish it did. It had me, it actually had the opposite effect.
Really?
It actually had me that much more annoyed at Kevin Durant going to Golden State. Because you look at the Western Conference. Look, I just saw my man CP3 the other day. NFL, NBA Players Association's new offices in Midtown. Spectacular job on all those parts. He's really trying to do a phenomenal job of taking care of the players and setting the tone moving into the next millennia. He should be very proud of himself. But I don't see his Clippers team really competing with the Golden State Warriors, because as long as you get to foul DeAndre Jordan in the fourth quarter, you know, he's either going to have to make free throws or sit on the bench. And I'm sorry, that's not going to be enough to beat Golden State. Pau Gasol is very good and gifted, but this ain't Tim Duncan 3, 4, 5 years ago. And so everybody else in the Western Conference, as far as I'm concerned, are irrelevant and don't matter. And I think that while Golden State can be suspect defensively, particularly with the departure of Andrew Bogut and Harrison Barnes, the fact of the matter is they're so prolific offensively. You can't afford to make mistakes when you have the ball. Otherwise, they'll bury you, which is what I anticipate they will do. The sad part about this upcoming NBA season is that I only see one team giving them a shot, giving them a run for their money, and it happens to be the Cleveland Cavaliers, who are in the Eastern Conference. So when I looked at last night, I said to myself, unless someone gets hurt, and we're certainly not wishing for that to happen to anybody, this season is going to be the equivalent of watching, you know, some juggernaut AAU squad or something like that. We're basically watching the Golden State Warriors in cruise control skate through the season. They'll have, you know, they'll have their troubles, you know, making adjustments, you know, one basketball for all the offensive weapons they have. They won't win 73 games this year. They might win 70 or 71, you know, something like that. But in the end, once the regular season is over, and you're talking about the playoffs, you're talking about an elite offensive juggernaut of a team, to me, that can only be knocked off by the preeminent basketball superstar in the entire world. And his name is LeBron James. And whatever help you give him, that's going to be the only way that you have a shot to knock this team off. Last night reminded me of Warriors' dominance, because I looked at how Team USA was supposed to be so dominant, how interesting Australia made it, and I said everybody's going to jump on it and say, see, this could happen, this could happen. Oh, shut up. It's not going to happen, at least not during the regular season and into the Western Conference playoffs. I don't see it happening. It is imminent. Unless an injury takes place, it is Golden State, it is the Cleveland Cavaliers, a trilogy in the NBA Finals. That's what we have to look forward to. And unfortunately, I have to look forward to getting stuck in airports over the course of 2 weeks or so next June. That's what happened every single time. Every single flight I had was delayed. I spent more time in the San Francisco International Airport. I thought
you make
that
so
was my
many
home.
people's days.
I thought that was my home.
Pictures with you,
they might as well have bought me a couch, you understand, or with a bed and just put it there. You understand? Because that's how much I was in San Francisco's airport. I'm just going to be stuck again, and I'm disgusted.
You did Sports Center hits from the airport.
From the airport.
You did. That
from
was
the
crazy.
airport.
That's quite a scene with him at the airport, too. I know why you asked the question, because you see a team you think is going to be unbeatable, almost kind of lose. They won by 10 points in the end, but get pushed. You say, hey, maybe it's possible. Here's the problem. It doesn't change my opinion about the season at all for the Warriors, because this is not a one-and-done tournament in the NBA. If the Warriors were a college team and they were entering the NCAA tournament and one loss could knock you out, sure, then there's no such thing as an unbeatable juggernaut. Even the best teams ever could lose to a mediocre team on an off night. A couple balls don't fall your way. But in the NBA, the best team always wins, because it's a best-of-7 series. So this doesn't change my mind at all about the upcoming season. That said, I'm very excited about the upcoming season. First of all, if you're a basketball junkie, you just like to watch NBA games, which I do. It doesn't matter who's playing. Milwaukee, they're kind of good now. You know, it doesn't, whoever it is. Utah, you see some young players. even, let alone the juggernauts, right? The big sexy markets and the great teams. I'll just watch NBA, period. But coming into this season, Stephen A., you brought it up, a trilogy? Are you kidding me? The rubber match coming up where the Warriors beat a depleted Cavs team, and then the Cavs come back on the Warriors down 3-1 and beat them. And this is, in boxing, is called a rubber match because it bounces one way or another. 3 consecutive years, the same 2 teams. And it's so obvious that, as you say, barring catastrophic injury to a key player on one of those teams, or maybe even more than one player, Cleveland will 100% certainly come out of the East, and the Warriors will 100% certainly come out of the West. So in that sense, there's no drama. But in the fight, you get great NBA action in the meantime.
Really? Really?
Yeah.
Where? Where's the great NBA action?
So
See,
if the
that's stuff that annoys me.
the
The
Eastern Conference Finals.
Are you watching?
Really?
Yeah.
Excuse me. Yes, I'm watching.
Oh, okay.
But
I'm just checking.
Here's the difference. I was watching those games last year, trying to gauge who could do what against the Warriors.
And the answer was nothing.
Wait a minute now. Oklahoma City had
That was the one wild card.
Oklahoma City had them, okay? But we didn't know whether or not Oklahoma City was going to get by San Antonio.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So it was the suspense because, as you know, in boxing, matchups make fights. Well, matchup makes fights in basketball as well. So when you looked at San Antonio and said, okay, I could see San Antonio losing to Golden State, but I could see Oklahoma City beating San Antonio. So what's going to happen? And then San Antonio, you know, and San Antonio wasn't a better matchup for the Warriors than OKC, and then OKC knocked off San Antonio. And so you said, okay, they got a shot to take them. Now we're watching, literally watching, and we're not talking about consolation prize for the NBA. We're talking about consolation prize for the Western Conference.
Yeah, right.
We're literally sitting back and going like this, okay, who's going to finish number 2 in the West? There's no suspense.
By the way, there could be a dominant fighter on the top of a division. You could still see a fight between 2 good contenders. It is the takeover. By the way, in the words of Jay-Z, you even look at the Clippers and you see DeAndre and Chris Paul and Blake Griffin. We don't believe you. You need more people.
Let me tell you something.
I mean, once the Warriors got Kevin Durant, it was a wrap in the Western Conference.
And I'm
but
telling
they
you
still got to play the Cavs.
Hold on.
In the finals,
This is very important. This is very important. Jay-Z's the one that convinced KD to go to Golden State, okay? Let me tell Jay-Z, this is stop it. This is blasphemous stuff.
He's a
This is very blasphemous stuff. Yeah, he's a businessman.
Yeah.
That's what Jay-Z is saying, and I respect it. But the point is, I want Jay-Z to know Jay-Z's isolated. Jay-Z is isolated because even his crew, including me, all disagree with his decision. All disagree with his decision. Oh, Jay-Z don't want to sit in this hot seat.
Why not?
This ain't some rap concert. He don't want to sit up in here. Jay-Z don't want to sit up in here. And I'm trying to tell you that right now. Because let me tell you something from a basketball perspective, even though I got to watch my mouth because Jay-Z the one that's always pointing out how wrong I am. And he's usually right about me being wrong. So I get that. But the point is...
Right here. I'm going to point it out to you after this segment.
He would not hesitate. But in this particular equation, and it has nothing to do with KD leaving OKC, going to Golden State, this is the Jay-Z that we knew that loved competition. Now, all of a sudden, it's about business.
Because you're missing the ultimate competition.
We have to go to break.
Cleveland. We got to go to break next. I don't want to listen to you no more.
I have something for you tonight.
Hell
they needed him.
Hell no. Not even a little bit. Look, what do you want, a cookie?
Yeah.
Melo is playing in the Olympics. Melo, when healthy, is one of the top 5 offensive players of this generation. He is 6'8". He is 240. He can score inside. He can score outside. He can score off the dribble. He can score spotting up. He can score from the three-point lane. He's got a mid-range game. He can get to the free throw line. And one-on-one, he's unstoppable. He's Melo. That's who he is. We know what he could do. The fact that you did it against Patty Mills and Andrew Bogut, you want a cookie? I don't care. The fact is, when you look at Team USA, I appreciate the fact that it was a legitimate game, which got me thinking about the Golden State Warriors. We'll talk about that a little bit later on in the show. But as it pertains to Melo and my feelings about Melo, Melo is over 31 years of age. Melo has had knee issues in the past. I don't like the fact that Melo is playing. I don't give a damn if I saw Melo in the park. I'd have a problem with him. I want him rested. I want him healthy. I want him ready to go. I don't want fatigue. I don't want injuries. I don't want anything being an excuse for the Knicks losing this year. I don't... Look. let me say this. I don't want to come across as unpatriotic. I am an American citizen. I'm black first, but I am an American citizen, okay? The red, white, and blue matters to me. I am a patriot of the highest order. I believe in America. I believe we're the greatest country in the world. I'm always rooting for America, USA. But in this particular instance, I don't care any bit more about a gold medal for Melo with Team USA. Not nearly as much as I care about an NBA championship. Not to say that the Knicks are going to win it this year, because there's no way in hell that's happening. But with Porzingis, with Melo, with D. Rose, a significant upgrade from Jose Calderon, with Joakim Noah, who, as far as I'm concerned, if healthy, is an upgrade from Robin Lopez. With those pieces, with a Courtney Lee, even though I would have preferred D-Wade, but with a Courtney Lee who is no scrub and can play, the New York Knicks should be a top 5 or 4 seed in the Eastern Conference. And outside of Cleveland, even though I would give Boston and Toronto a slight edge, to me it is reasonable to expect the Knicks to make it to the conference finals. They got a shot. Yeah. They got a shot. As long as they don't have to run into Cleveland. They got a shot.
Because you know why?
Hold on. I'm coming to you. The East is wide open outside of Cleveland. I'm not saying they're favorites. At least 3 teams are above the Knicks. But the Knicks would have a shot. And because they have a shot, do you have any idea how ticked off I'm going to be if something happens and we hear that Melo's tired? Melo's knees are aching. Attrition has kicked in. Oh, I don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear that. So if y'all are asking, let me be very, very clear about what I am trying to say. Because I understand that it's almost blasphemous for this to come out of my mouth. But I would take, only for the basketball, I'm not talking about the swimmers, the track and field people, the gymnasts, I'm not talking about any of that. Only for the basketball team, and specifically for Melo, I would take the gold medal and throw it in the Hudson River and not give a damn about it in favor of an NBA championship for the New York Knicks. Yes, I would. Yes, I would. 1973, Max Kellerman. And if you are a New Yorker like you say you are, you stand up, you cheer, you acknowledge that I'm right. You don't debate me on this, Max Kellerman. 1973, we have not had a championship. If you got a shot, and it gets blown because attrition kicked in because you were playing in Rio, okay, I'm going to be pretty damn ticked off.
You actually got to live through a championship. You were born before 1973.
If that's what you call it? At 5 years old, that's what you call it?
January 1973. I wasn't born until August of that year. I've never lived through a Knicks championship. Nevertheless, you told on yourself. You said you're an American and this and that, and you said black first, then American.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
And you're a Knicks fan, obviously.
Right.
But actually, you're a citizen of Knicks Nation before the United States of America.
No, only with basketball.
Yes,
only with
that's
basketball.
Yes.
Only with basketball.
It's not the red, white, and blue for you. It's the orange, white, and blue for you.
Only with basketball. Only what you're clapping for. Only with basketball. Only with basketball.
Now look, let's get back to the original thing. Does it change my mind about Carmelo playing in the Olympics? If you're a Knicks fan, if you're a Carmelo fan, you should not like this. For all the reasons that Stephen A. just pointed out, I don't need to rehash them. It's a bad idea. I mean, it's better than when Powell played if you're a Lakers fan, and he wasn't even playing for the United States. He's playing for Spain, and he's a big man, and they play deep into the playoffs every year. It's like, what are you doing? And then he had an off year, partly, I think, because he was worn down. That's even worse, but this is also not good. Furthermore, setting the all-time scoring record in the Olympics, you know what that's like if you're – it's like Bull Durham. Remember Bull Durham, Crash Davis? He set the all-time minor – this is a Kevin Costner movie, kids. He set the all-time minor league home run record. That's what scoring title in the Olympics is, like the minor league home run record. But that's for someone who never makes it to the show, not for a perennial all-star at the highest level, because the fact is Olympic basketball is a lower level than NBA basketball. NBA basketball is better. It's contested at a higher level. Has the best players concentrated, the whole thing.
I appreciate what you're saying,
so
but
this
I
is a lower level.
Confirm that you agree with me. You already made a New Yorker. You're about to get your New York citizenship stripped from you.
That is not yours to strip.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You're not right, because once he makes whether or not I disagree with Carmelo playing in the Olympics, whether or not I care very much about the United States winning the gold, which I do, I want the United States to win the gold. I just don't think you need your 31-year-old veterans to do it. But once he makes the decision to do it, that ship has now sailed. Now we have to watch what's actually happening. And if it weren't for Carmelo Anthony last night, the Americans probably lose.
Yeah.
I mean, like, that's the reality.
So what you saying?
So I'm saying,
I understand what you're saying.
So does it change my mind about him playing? No, I would prefer him not play in the Olympics. Okay. However, since he made the choice to play, this is now new information, and you have to admit the time for complaining about it was then. Now we're along for the ride. You gotta be happy about this now.
No. I'm not unhappy. I just don't care. That's the difference.
You care if Team USA lost. You care.
Listen. I would care if they lost. True, but I don't see them losing. I couldn't imagine them losing when it was a two-possession game. I wasn't concerned. I mean, it's Andrew Bogut and Patty Mills against Team USA. What am I worried about it for? I mean, please, mere bag of shells. It's no big deal. I wasn't worried about it. Here's my point to you. This is the problem. Everyone, and I hope Melo's somewhere where he sees this. You know why everybody's making a big deal about this? It's not because Team USA survived. Because you anticipated somehow, some way they'd find a way to survive. You know why they're making a big deal out of this? Because Melo being in a clutch situation is an aberration, because we don't see that much because he plays for the Knicks. And when have they been required to be in such dire situations?
By the way,
and dire circumstances?
We got to get into your Knicks analysis, too.
Listen,
we got to get into your Knicks analysis,
listen to what I'm saying to you. If you're Carmelo Anthony, I know, I've watched him since his days at Syracuse. Melo, big time. Melo, let me tell you something right now. Melo got the heart of a lion. Melo ain't scared of nothing. Put the ball in his hands. If LeBron had Melo, LeBron would have had championships before he actually won them, because Melo would have closed the deal for him. Because unlike Wade and everybody else that would have tried to bring LeBron along during that maturation period years ago, Melo would have said, look, man, give me the damn ball. I appreciate how you got us to this fourth quarter. Now move out the way. I got this. That's what would have happened. And LeBron is the ultimate sidekick, even though he's no sidekick now because he's a superstar. But there were times in his career where he was willing to be a sidekick. Melo is that big time. There is nothing that we saw from Melo offensively last night that should be a surprise to any of us, okay? I was at the Garden when he dropped 60. This is who he is. This is Melo. But the point that I'm trying to make is that it don't mean anything because it's this, Australia. You already got 2 gold medals. You're going to get a third. Where's the other 2 medals? I wonder. The bottom line is it don't matter because that's not what it means. What it means is we're waiting for a championship. And I'm telling y'all right now, you think you've seen me ticked off before. I promise you, it is nothing compared to how ticked off I'm going to be if Melo gets hurt this year. I'm going to lose my mind. If Melo gets hurt this year, I'm going to lose my mind, because you know what? You should be doing everything you can to strengthen yourself and prepare yourself for this season. A gold medal does not replace an NBA championship, which has evaded this man for his entire career. Do you realize the great, and I do mean offensively, the offensively great, Carmelo Anthony has never played in an NBA Finals ever.
Maybe he's not as good as you think he is.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Because you say offensively great, but in fact, I agree with everything you say if you take offense out and just put scoring in. Offense is more than scoring, and it's more than ISO scoring. And in terms of his breaking the points record or coming through in the clutch, the fact is it was LeBron James's record he broke, but LeBron's got 3 chips, so it's okay if he has an Olympic scoring title record. Carmelo has never played in the finals, as you mentioned, so it's not as okay. You, as a Knicks fan, got your hopes way too high. The conference finals?
I said could.
Look, first of all,
I expect semifinals.
Joakim Noah
but they could go to the conference.
Joakim Noah, who's one of my favorite players ever, does not play for the Knicks. The remains of Joakim Noah play for the Knicks. I mean, let's be honest about this. He is not the same player due to injury and age and how hard he always has played throughout his career. Well, that's not the same player. Courtney Lee, by the way, was an excellent pickup. For the money, I mean, he's cheaper than Wade.
4 years, $50 million. But you know what?
Can play without the ball, can shoot the 3, can defend your best perimeter player.
See, this is ridiculous. First of all, Courtney Lee is cheaper. There's a reason he's cheaper, because he's not as good
as Wade, of course.
Let me finish. You got 4 years, $50 million. Who gives a damn about Courtney Lee in year 3 or 4? You could have gave Wade 50 for 2 years and called it a day. He would have taken it and rolled into New York City. It's quite
Does that
possible.
fit under the cap?
Yeah, excuse me. You could find a way, if you're the New York Knicks, if you could find a way to give Joakim Noah 72 and find a way to give Courtney Lee $50 million over 4 years, you could damn sure find a way to give Dwayne Wade 2 years, $50 million. Trust me. Just trust me.
How many guys do you want on the same team who need the ball? Derrick Rose, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, Kristaps Porzingis. You need a couple guys that don't need the ball.
I'm here for you. I'm here for you because I understand that when you watching boxing and you see some of these dudes get hit, occasionally you might get hit yourself, Max. I'm here for you. I'm here for you. But here's the deal, Max. You take D. Wade. Why? Because there's nobody else on the New York Knicks that have a championship. No one. Who else has one? Somebody's got to be there to be the guiding tool to you, to show you the way.
No championship team ever won without a guy who'd already won one?
Not that I recall, and I'm here to tell you something right now. Here's the deal. In the end, what it comes down to is this. I'm not going to belabor the point. Damn it, Phil Jackson should have got D. Wade instead of Courtney Lee. What I'm saying, however, is this. I don't expect the Knicks to get to the conference finals. I'm hopeful. But in the case of everybody else, could the Knicks get in the first round? And if you have to run into Toronto or Boston as a number 2 seed, could they knock them off in the second round? Based on paper and what we see, you're damn right. Joakim Noah, you might talk about his skills have diminished. You know what I would respond to you? What skills are you talking about? Because guess what? With Joakim Noah, he's always an awkward-looking player. He's there for his size, his tenacity, his fervor, his defense, his rebounding. A healthy Joakim Noah can play that role.
Yeah, but the odds are he's not going to be healthy based on recent history.
Well, the odds are fine. But I specifically said, if you luck up and you're able to stay healthy.
At this point, he's a worse version of Robin Lopez, who they traded.
Ridiculous.
Essentially traded for him, although not exactly. At this point,
Listen. There's something to be said about dudes inside that locker room that's going to hold you accountable, that can be an energizer bunny if they're healthy enough, so the players will come out and play to a max level.
All I'm saying is, what the Knicks need is a time machine. Then they'd be contenders. If they could fast forward Kristaps Porzingis' career, if they could go back in time for Derrick Rose and Joakim Noah, they'd have something.
Melo's got time left. Melo, I don't like Melo playing in this, but let me tell you something. Melo, his game is not as predicated on his athleticism the way a LeBron James is. Melo is a shooter and scorer, particularly from the outside, even though he's big enough and strong enough to beat you from the inside. So the fact that he has those requisite outside perimeter skills makes him lethal. Can the Knicks beat a Toronto and or a Boston? Yes, they can. I'm not saying I would favor them right now.
Year for you.
I'm not saying I would favor them right now.
This is not going to be good for your health.
They can do it. They can do it.
Your lips to God's ears. They can do it.
You know what, Miss Connecticut? Who's your team? Who's your team?
I don't have a
team. Huskies?
Yes, I do root for you.
The Huskies got a better shot at winning the NBA title than the Knicks.
I'm not biased like you.
Please.
I just report the news.
Okay.
Melo, congrats on your scoring record. I appreciate it here, and I care. And also, Kyrie Irving, so clutch. We'll get into that a little bit.